Alright, so today I want to talk to you guys about workbenches and walk you through the construction of my new workbench. And in order to kind of explain why I built this bench, I've got to kind of back up a little bit. So my whole life I've been doing woodworking, and I've built benches like you see behind me, 4x4 post benches with 2x6 frames and 3/4 inch plywood tops. And they're great benches. I've had this one for, I don't know, I probably made this one 15 to 18 years ago, and it's still fine. It's still holding up well. For woodworking, the wooden benches are great, and it seems to satisfy the needs. As I've shifted my interest a little bit into more automotive stuff, rebuilding engines, a lot of metal work, a lot of welding. Obviously, I needed a metal table to do welding and some of the automotive stuff, because the wood tables just won't stand up, in my opinion, to the heavy automotive stuff. So if you threw a head of an engine onto that wood table, it's probably going to gouge the table or leave a mark, or it's going to spill oil and it's going to stain the wood. Well, a head's not going to spill oil, but you know what I mean. There's oil and dirt on it. It's going to stain your workbench, and it's just not ideal for automotive application. So I'm pretty excited to get in this table, get it built, and I've had this idea in my head for quite a while now, and it's going to finally come to life. So let me show you what I got, and let's get into it. Alright, so here's what I'm starting out with, and that is a 7 foot by 3 foot 1/4 inch thick plate steel. And gotta be honest with you, it's a lot stouter than I thought it would be. Alright, and then over here I've got my 10 foot sticks. This is 2-inch square tubing, and it's only 16 gauge. So it's pretty thin, actually pretty light material, and should be real easy to work with. So let's get started. I want to get the legs cut and start putting this thing together. So you can kind of see what I did here, and the reason I did that and clamped that scrap piece there is just to make sure I get consistent lengths on my legs. And I've already measured it, and now I don't have to measure them, and I can just cut my 4 legs out, and they should all be exactly the same size. Alright, so there's the legs, and pretty good. They all came out. I mean, they are right on the money. So, yeah, no worries about them not being the same length. And it should go together well. It's 16 gauge materials. First time I've worked with it, and it cuts real easy. Real nice. Alright, so I got my 4 legs cut out, and then I got my 4 cross braces cut at 26 inches. And that's going to give me an overhang of about 3 inches all the way across the top of this table. Very similar to how I built this one with an overhang. Alright, let's get these things staged up, and I'll get them welded. Alright, so I got my first weld ready to go here. And these are the 2 legs. And there's the first cross brace. And this will should go together pretty quick. So let's get it welded up. Alright, so I got most of the table legs built. Well, not most of them, but I've got the 2 ends built and just kind of tack welded together. And now I'm going to cut the long pieces. And I had to do some math here, and I like to write on that steel. So I did some math. So this is a 7 foot table, 84 inches. I want 3 inches of overhang on one end, 8 inches on the other for a vise, so that's 11. So that brings you down to 73, and then minus 4 for the width of these on the ends. And that brings you down to 69. So 69 inches, and I need 4 of those cut to join these 2 ends of the table together.
Alright, so here's as far as I got yesterday, and basically just got the frame constructed, and honestly just tack welded in. So this 16 gauge steel is real easy to work with, and I had my welder set on number 5, which I like to kind of weld hot and I like to weld fast. and I burned right through this 16 gauge, not thinking. Turned it down to 4 and still burned through it. So actually I'm on like number 3 setting on my welder. I've got a Hobart Handler 140, and so there's settings 1 through 5. So really had to turn this thing down. I'm used to welding with a lot thicker steel, but overall real happy with this 16 gauge. It's real light, and I mean I can pick this thing up no problem. And I guess that's one of the advantages. It just won't be as heavy as the table in the back there. So I'm pretty happy with that, pretty happy how it's turning out so far. And now I want to get the expanded metal that I've got tucked away over there, and I want to get it and start cutting it for my shelf. All right, so I got this all marked up, and now I'm going to get it cut. All right, so there is the expanded metal shelf, and that was fairly easy to do and turned out pretty nice. Just got to you know, clean the metal off underneath it, and then I'm going to weld it in. So that should go together pretty easily. All right, so this is as far as I've gotten, and I've gotten the basic structure together. And when I cut out the expanded metal shelf, I realized I'm going to need some supports in the middle, and that's what you see here and here. And how I figured this out as far as where to put them and so they're spaced out evenly is I took the total measurement of 69 inches. I subtracted 2 inches for the width of this and 2 inches for the width of that, and that brought it down to 65 inches. And then I divided that by 3 because I want 3 equal spaces. So that measurement was like 21.66, so I just kind of rounded off to 21 5/8. So I measured 21 5/8, drew a line, and then I went 2 more inches for the width of this square tubing here, drew a line, 21 5/8 to here, and again drew a line 2 inches, and then 21 5/8 was that distance there. It's not exactly perfect down to the 1/8 of an inch, but it's pretty close. So I'm going to go ahead and weld these two braces in, and get these in, and then I can grind down this bottom section, and I can get my expanded metal shelf welded in. All right, so one of the last things I have to do before I mock up the top of this table is get these casters welded on. And you know, there's Ford versus Chevy on this one, because people would say that you should weld a plate onto the bottom of your leg, and that way you can bolt and unbolt the casters. If you weld them on, something happens to the caster, then you've got to cut it off. And I'll be honest with you, I've never really had a problem with any of these heavy-duty casters that I bought. Now down here on the big table, I welded a plate, and I bolted the casters on. I can get them on and off easy. Over here on this little table that I made, I welded them on. And so I've not had any problems with these that I welded on, and I've not had any problems with these that I cut a plate for and bolted on. So with this table, I am going to weld these on, and I'm probably just going to go around 2 sides, and that should be plenty. Got a bar clamp holding them in, It's an old woodworking bar clamp. And yeah, shouldn't take too long to get them on. So I'm going to get them on, and then once I get those welded, I'm going to grind down and clean up this expanded metal, and then I'm going to bring the table down off of the other table and mock up the top, get it fitted, clean it up, paint it, and we're getting close. All right, so I finally got a rolling chassis here. Got my wheels welded on, and I ended up going all the way around all four sides, and this thing rolls really easily. Look at that. And so, special guest appearance from Lexi. She's over there, but she wants to actually get in there and ride around on this thing for some reason. So, you ready?
Yeah.
Yeah? What are we gonna do?
You're gonna
I'm gonna I'm gonna push her around. Okay. So I'm gonna push her around on this for some reason. We don't know why. All right. So what are we gonna do again?
You're gonna pull me around.
I'm gonna pull you around in the
table.
table. Okay. Tell everybody your name.
Lexi.
Lexi. And how old are you, Lexi?
11.
11. And who's the coolest guy ever?
You.
I am? Oh, that's awesome. All right. You ready? This will be fun. I don't know. I really don't understand why she wants to do this, but I thought it'd be kind of fun to do it. All right.
All right, so we got some painting to do. I got this thing cleaned up, flipped over. Kelly came out and typed up the wheels. The wheels are actually a nice black powder coat, so I didn't want to paint over them, and the wheels themselves are red, and I didn't want to get any overspray on them. So I'm gonna get busy. I got a lot of painting to do. All right, so here's the table with primer on it, and it's always amazes me how much paint these things take. So I used 4 of the 16-ounce cans of Rust-Oleum primer on this thing, and really ran out on my 4th can as I was coming to the end of the 2nd coat. So 2 coats, 4 16-ounce cans of primer. So I'm going to let this thing sit overnight, flip it over tomorrow, and then I'll start painting it red. All right, so I went ahead and painted the red off camera and just have the top kind of laid down on there. It's not centered or squared up yet, but just wanted to show it to you in this stage. And I'm thinking, man, this thing really looks great. I'm really, really happy with the way it turned out. The casters look really good. The black, powder coated casters with the red wheels matches the table perfectly. Expanded metal looks good. Alright, so in case you're wondering, the paint I used, the red paint anyways, is the Duplicolor Perfect Match. And I did a Rust-Oleum just gray primer base, and then I did this Duplicolor Perfect Match. I used this on my other welding table, and really, really held up well, so I wanted to use it again. It's a little bit pricier than just regular spray paint, but the finish and the longevity of the finish to me is worth it. Alright, it's a little dark under here, but you can see there's a strip there that wasn't painted, and how I did that was just by masking that off with some blue painter's tape. And the reason I did that is so I could go ahead and paint the frame, and then I could peel that off and have bare metal to weld to, and then I don't have to worry about grinding anything down or cleaning off that paint. And then once I do the welding, and I'm just going to do 4 stitch welds like this, 1 on each side, and that should be plenty to hold this top on, because it's pretty healthy and pretty heavy. I'll clean up the weld a little bit, and then I'll just fill that in with spray paint, and you'll never know. And given the position that it's in, you really won't ever see it anyways. Alright, so I'm going to get this top centered, get it welded in, and then I'm going to clean up this top, and this table will be done. Alright, so the table is finally done. Took a lot of time to spray paint this thing,
and not too long to build it because I was pretty persistent with trying to work on it a little bit every night, and then on the weekends working on it more during the day. And the painting part took a while because you have to wait, you have to wait for the paint to dry in between coats. But overall, a week and a half, 2 weeks. That's about all it took me once I got the steel. So this thing was a lot of fun to build. I really enjoyed doing it. I really love welding. I love metalworking. And I have to tell you though, probably the funnest part of this project was pushing Lexi around the fire pit and just watching her have fun with that. So kind of an odd request from her to ride around in the half-built metal table, but we had a lot of fun doing it. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this video. I've got a lot of cool videos coming up. This table is going to be helpful in my 383 stroker build, and I'm building a 383 stroker motor for my 78 Camaro. I've got an update on that coming up soon. I've got an update on my Jeep CJ7 build that I recently completed, but I've got another Jeep update coming soon. And I'm probably going to go over to my buddy Matt's house, who's helped me out quite a bit, and do an update on his $1,000 Chevrolet square body truck that he scored. So he's making some progress. It's slow progress, but I want to show you guys what he's done to the truck since the last update. So stay tuned to the channel. Appreciate you tuning in. Thank you for your support, and thanks for watching.